Can you hear me? Got it? Live streamed? Okay. Can everyone hear me okay? Good afternoon, everyone. Lovely to have you here. The 1st of February 2022 by Zoom. Wherever you are, welcome. Kia ora and good afternoon to the Taupō District Council meeting. I see Councillor Tonganui Kingi there this afternoon. Kia ora, Tong. Just wondering if you could give us a karakia by Zoom. Is that possible?
Kia ora, Mr. Mayor. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Kia ora, everyone. Ino tātou. Whakataka te hau ki te uru, whakataka te hau ki te tonga. Kia mā kinikina ki uta, kia mā taratara ki tai. E hi ake ana te ātākura, he teo, he huka, he hauhu, haumi e, hui e, tai ki e.
Thank you very much, Councillor Kingi. Appreciate that this afternoon. Just a point of clarification before we start, 4.2, the item regarding Kinloch Triathlon will be withdrawn because of the cancellation of that event, unfortunately. So we'll go straight to item number 1, apologies. Do we have any apologies this afternoon? I do, from Councillor Kirsty Truman. Anyone else? I don't see John Body there. He was having technical issues. John, are you there? No. Simon, I'm not too sure if you could sort of contact John and just see, can help improve his issues there, but I'll put the apology of Councillor Truman at this stage and Councillor Body for lateness. Thank you. Moved by Councillor Park, seconded by Tonganui Kingi. Thank you. All those in favour, please say aye. Those against, you're on mute. All right. I got the thumbs up. Any conflicts of interest pertaining to the items today? No, we'll move on. Number 3 is the confirmation of the minutes from the ordinary council meeting, which was held on the 4th of December. Do I have any points of clarification or any questions answered on those minutes, please? No? Okay, could I have a mover? Thank you, Councillor Rankin, and seconded by Councillor Guy. All those in favour, please say aye. Against? Carried. Thank you. Item 4.1 is the Minister of Conservation consent easement to the Lines Company for electrical works on local purpose reserve. Who we have presenting that? Come in, whoever's presenting that one, please.
Good afternoon, Your Worship. Dennis here.
Oh, good afternoon, Dennis. Welcome. Thank you.
Yep. Afternoon, Your Worship, councillors. I'll take the item as read. Essentially, it's for council acting its capacity as delegate to the Minister of Conservation to grant an easement for some transformers for the Lines Company down in Turangi. I'll take any questions.
Okay, thanks. Thanks, Dennis. Any questions of Mr. Lewis?
So just through the TTCB went through this. The only question we had was, we were obviously happy with this, was can they do anything about its aesthetic appeal? Did we get an answer to that?
Yes, through the chair, yes, we've been working with the Lines Company. I think Libby, and she's online here, she might be able to add something, but I think Libby was in discussions with one of their PR team. Is that correct, Libby?
Good afternoon, just through the chair. Yes, that's correct. The Lines Company have a new community engagement manager, unfortunately not based in Turangi, based in Tikawiri. So we're just starting those conversations to try and figure out how we can help with the aesthetics of those. And we're looking at local artists if possible.
That's cool. For us, it was just a small point, but it was just something we want clarified. Thank you.
Lovely. Thank you very much. Any other questions of Dennis?
No question, Chair, but just happy to move the paper.
Thank you very much, Tong. Councillor Kingi. It's been moved by Councillor Kingi. Do I have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Mack. All those in favour, please say aye. Is against? Carried. Thank you very much. Item 4.3, community council and community feedback over the Christmas New Year period. Julie.
Your Worship, Julie's unfortunately late in another meeting, so I've agreed that
okay.
I'll
Thank
cover this
you.
one for her. Hopefully half as good as what she would have done. But
Yeah.
look, what we wanted to do was just provide an opportunity to talk about the summer just gone, and some of the good and bad that happened over that summer break. And so really just an opportunity to highlight some of those issues that we saw and heard of. Obviously more than happy to take any advice from councillors about anything that we haven't covered in the item in sort of general terms, and obviously like always any specific feedback through the service request system in terms of any outstanding issues as they applied. But look, in a general term, I guess we wanted to highlight that there was some really good news over summer, particularly that economic impact. As it says in the item there, some 11.2% up week on week from last year. So given the impacts of COVID and particularly the red traffic light system that we were in leading up to New Year's Eve, that was pretty encouraging to see that increase in economic spend. I guess the other side of that is, and you'll see in the paper that the police, from the debriefs that we've had with them, we're also very happy with the way that the Christmas period went. And I'm told that there was, for example, 6 arrests on New Year's Eve in Taupo. And I'm sure Councillor Taylor will remember the bad old days when those numbers of arrests were literally in the hundreds and hundreds. So, so that's sort of the good news, and I guess that was helped by the fact that that weather was so good, and we're obviously a great domestic destination that people were coming right around the country to come and experience what we have to offer here. So that's sort of the really positive news, I guess. There were obviously some issues that were addressed or identified through the summer period. A large number of them were around the roading changes that we're undertaking, and they're in sort of 2 camps, I guess. One was the work that's associated with the town centre transformation project, and I'd acknowledge that there were some significant hold-ups over periods of time in the town centre, and particularly around Spa Road, as a result of some of those works. There's a couple of things I'll just talk about there. One is that those works clearly aren't finished. We're only halfway through. Forecast to be finished at the end of this calendar year. And so therefore, roads like Tongariro Street, we're trying to undertake 2 functions, both being a through road like what it always has been, and the new function of being a slow go area. So I think given those changes, it worked remarkably well. The other point I'd make is, and it was reminded to me that Taupo's, from an old Taupo person, that Taupo's always had traffic jams around summer period. So it's nothing new. It's just that we might have changed where some of those jams happened. And the person I was speaking to reminded me that, you know, in days of old, we used to have traffic jams all the way up to BP Wairake. This year we had traffic jams down Spa Road. So yep, they were slightly different location due to some of those changes that we'd made. But I think thinking about the big picture, as I say, we're scheduled to finish those works end of this year. So for next summer, it'll be a different story. And again, considering the fact that volumes were so high, given the number of people in the district, I think they fared pretty well. The other one that you'll all be aware of is the Kettle Drive roundabout construction, which had that area or that road, Kettle, Arrowsmith, Napier Taupo Road, closed for a couple of weeks just after the busy period. There were some teething issues around the road closures and how they were communicated and signed, but generally I think they went as well as what they could do. And you're aware that there's another week closure coming up shortly to be able to finish those works. Probably the other one, Your Worship, that would be very clear to everybody was that we did have some issues around solid waste, so waste and recycling pickups over the summer period. This is a regular thing, unfortunately. It's something which has occurred on an ongoing basis, I think, most summers that I can remember. I would say that our contractors did an amazing job where they could, and I think that's been acknowledged by the public generally. They've done some pretty amazing long days in some challenging conditions, heat and the like, to be able to get through their job. But that's very much based on the fact that volumes are incredibly high, and you'll see in the paper we've got some stats there of the amount of waste and particularly recycling over that period. And probably worthy of note that, you know, we are one of the very few councils that don't limit the amount of recycling that that people can put out to curb, which is a good thing, but it also means that at times when we've got a lot of people in town, there's a huge volume that they have to deal with. The other issue that came was that there was an accident with one of the rubbish trucks over the period, which put a truck out of use, and so that put the team behind by 4 days as well through that period. So look, undesirable. We were running I think at 1.3 days behind in our deliveries, and totally acknowledge that that's an issue for not only for people's convenience, but it also, when that coincides with some heavy winds, as an example, you end up with recycling blowing around the streets, which is clearly undesirable. So certainly looking at ways of working with the contractor to try and make that better for next year. And you're also aware that we're having those conversations around the end of this contract and what the future may look like, which may change that service delivery and how that's played out. But yeah, certainly acknowledge that solid waste did have some challenges. And also in saying that, acknowledge my team who worked pretty hard over that time to be able to communicate and work with the contractors over those issues. Your Worship, I think that's probably all I'll highlight. The paper talks a little bit about the My Vaccine passes at the venues and a few minor issues that we had around that with some of the responses, particularly at the library, and talks about likewise things around dust and water restrictions and the like. Just before I finish, I'll just note that as officers, we are debriefing as officers this week, and also having a meeting, particularly with the Kinloch community. I think it's next week, and that's because Kinloch did hit the brunt of some pretty significant antisocial behaviour this year. You remember last year that was the Southern Lakes. It was down at Katoa. That was very quiet this year, the police tell me. However, I think due to a number of houses, I think there was 3 or 4 houses in Kinloch which had been rented to a large group of youth. Kinloch did bear the brunt of some unfavourable behaviours. For the record, I just sort of note the response from the locals out there was pretty amazing. So the next day, early hours of the morning, we had a number of locals out cleaning up glass and rubbish with our team, which is pretty cool. And then obviously we came in behind them, helping them with other machinery and the likes to be able to do that. So very much appreciate those locals for taking care of their backyard as well. The police, I've met with them and talked with them about it. They acknowledge that it wasn't a desirable outcome. There were a few things that they and us have talked about that we could do for next year to try and make that better. And as I say, we are meeting with the Community Association out there next week to talk about that and take on any suggestions that they may have. So with that, Your Worship, I'll just hand it over to you and your councillors if there's any other things that we've missed out of the paper.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. CEO. And of course, our thoughts are with the truck driver that was injured in that truck too. Hopefully he's recovering okay. So thank you for that update. There might be a couple of questions, Gareth, if you don't mind. Councillor Mack.
Yeah, hey Gareth. I think a big hats off to you guys, honestly, over the period. I think what we do, especially down the southern end of the lake, is I think we beat ourselves up a bit over the new year, and I think we probably, if you like, put ourselves out there for a fall, like actually trying to keep the rubbish on the days that you normally would do rubbish over this period. It's almost impossible, as you say, with the amount of rubbish that we have, to actually keep that going. And I don't think people down here would have any issues if we look at this and actually say, well, based on, whatever the holiday days are, we actually would be able to stagger it. When we had these issues, yes, I think your communication team did a great job because we communicated with them quite quickly, put it out there. Everybody was more than understanding. And I think what that is we can use that. People don't expect if it's a Monday and Monday's Boxing Day that it's going to go unless we say it is. And I think if we do it just before, depending on, the day, we would be more than happy to communicate and we didn't have issues. Yes, we had late, whatever, but once it was communicated, people understood it wasn't an issue. Same with mowing the lawns, for God's sake, mowing the grass. It's that time of the year. We're in level red. It's like, once you explain this to them, and we did a really good job of that, I don't think we had any problems down here at all, to be honest with you. With the tip, etc., yes, it was all overflowing, but I don't believe you had any major complaints about it, just people having a go, being told, look, we're doing the best we can, and everybody was then happy. So I think, you know, hats off to everybody, and I just don't think we should be beating ourselves up about things that we've done over and above, if you like, or your guys have.
Totally agree, Councillor. I mean, again, I wanted to stress that the team, both our staff and our contractors, you know, did do an amazing job. I'd always like to say that we can always do better, and so, you know, part of the debrief will be looking at how can we do that better. And, you know, you've just identified a few potential ways that we could do that. So those will be things that we talk about and try and look at what we can do for next year to try and make it even better.
Cool. Kathy, Councillor Guy, please.
Thank you. Gareth, on behalf of the Kinloch community, I do want to say thank you very much to your team, and particularly the Parks and Reserves team, for the work that they did, you know, over a public holiday. They were out here with the sweeper machine. Everyone was, as you say, not only the community, but your staff were absolutely amazing. And I've already met with some of the Parks and Reserves team to talk about some mitigating issues around people driving onto the reserve and camping. So, you know, they're right onto it. So I just wanted to publicly say thank you on behalf of the Kinloch community and also the Kinloch Rep Group.
Awesome. Thank you, Councillor Guy. If you could pass on to your team, obviously, Gareth, that'd be truly appreciated. Councillor Williamson.
Oh, did I have my hand up? Did I?
Oh, but you're waving your pen around.
No, sorry. I'll take the opportunity just to endorse Kathy and John's comments regarding the tremendous work that council teams do in the environment we're in. And I found that there's been a great degree of tolerance this year, particularly this year, regarding some of the things that they might expect to be done normally. But you know, hats off to the council, to Gareth and the council team.
Yeah, thank you, Councillor.
And also the contractors. You know, notwithstanding they're taking a break over some of the projects over Christmas, the sterling work they do in their relationship with the council. Tremendous.
Thank you very much, Councillor Winsome. Councillor Rankin.
Look, I absolutely agree with my colleagues. I think the work that was done last year and the way that people worked so hard to have things operating properly over Christmas, that we were just a shining jewel. I think just about everyone that came into town was talking about how absolutely beautiful it is. And yes, there were a few comments from locals about the millions we'd spent transforming the town, and I always have joy in telling people we haven't spent $1. The government paid for it for us. But Gareth and his team managed it, and it really has been magnificent. And I just want to reiterate, I mentioned it this morning, yes, businesses did very well during the holiday period, but it's not enough to sustain them, and we are facing major problems for the future. So, you know, we need to have that at the front of our minds as we go forward. But yes, it was a wonderful Christmas and the staff did a brilliant job. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Rankin. Any other questions or comments of Gareth? Oh, I think you got the sentiment there, Gareth, that, you know, things are very good. And with the, as far as the waste is concerned, that communication was just so excellent. And people didn't even mind, you know, the belling up saying, no problems, well, I know you'll get it tomorrow, you know. So whereas previous years, it's always been, where the hell are they, you know? So thank you very much for that. And appreciate all the work and everybody that's worked over that period too, where other people have had it off. So well done. All right, suggested recommendation there. Do I have a mover, please? That we received the report, moved by Councillor Williamson, seconded by Councillor Guy. All those in favour, please say aye. It's against, carried. Thank you. 4.4, overview of council meeting agenda items for 2022. Shani, are you there? Oh, hello, Shani.
I am. Good afternoon,
Welcome.
Your Worship and councillors.
Good afternoon.
Thank you. We have here a list of agenda items that we will be bringing you over the year. It's just a snapshot for your information. It's not a complete list, but it's what we knew at the time the agenda was produced, and it's there for you to see what is ahead for you to receive.
Okay, cool. Any questions or queries of Shani regarding those agenda items? No, very straightforward. Okay, could I have a mover, please, that received the overview? the council meeting agenda items for 2022. KT, are you there? Councillor Park, moved by Councillor Park. Excuse me, seconded by Councillor Mack. Thank you, John. All those in favour, please say aye. Those against? Carried. Okay, well, that brings an end. While Shani was on, I was just going to, do we need to go to another Zoom for the confidential part?
Your
Sorry,
worship,
Shani.
we did have agenda item 4.5 members' reports if you wish, and then we have the resolution to exclude the public, and then we'll stop the live stream and you can continue on the same link.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Sorry, I didn't members' reports. Thank you for waking me up. 4.5. Any members' reports there? I'll go round the screen if that's okay. Councillor Williamson. Nothing. Councillor Mack. Councillor Rankin. No. Councillor Kingy. Councillor Yvonne. All good. Thanks, Yvonne. Councillor Kathy.
Just the fact that it met with the Kinloch community regarding the summer issue, and as has been mentioned, there is a meeting next week.
Great. Thanks, Kathy. Councillor Park. All good. Councillor Taylor. Councillor Body.
Yeah, nothing, David.
No problem. Thanks. Councillor Kylie. Leonard. All good. Thanks. Thanks, Kylie. Okay, that brings a close to the end of the meeting. So we will cut the live stream. But can I have a mover into confidence, please?